Hello, everyone. This is Sasha with the LTRC. Thank you for joining us for reviewing the review sites, which review sites matter for law firms, with our sponsor Kenect as part of the LTRC Industry Insight Series held every Wednesday. Our speaker today is McKay Allen. McKay Allen is the VP of Marketing at Kenect. Kenect is the text messaging platform for more than 3,000 law firms throughout the US and Canada. It allows law firms to send and receive text messages from their business phone number, request Google reviews via text, conduct video chats, text with clients, streamline intake, and even generate more leads on their website. McKay lives in Salt Lake City with his wife and 2 children. Thank you all for joining us. We'll now begin the webinar.
Thank you, Sasha. Thanks to everybody for the hard work to put this together. We're excited to be here today and talk really about the different review sites and the review platforms that law firms are sort of confronted with. I think it's overwhelming at times. Like, how do you know which one to focus on? How do you know which one to get reviews for? It's really difficult to do all of them well. So what we'll do is we'll do like a pro and con for each of the review sites. I'll tell you up front, our thesis, based on research and based on what we've seen from our 4,000 customers, is that Google reviews matter the most. I'll make an argument for that today, but that isn't to say they all don't matter. It's just that we believe Google matters the most. So let's dive in. The one thing I would ask is please ask questions. Go to the little Q&A area there or the chat area if you want to ask any questions at all. I'd love to answer any questions as we go. We'll only take probably about 25, 30 minutes in the presentation, and then the rest will be up to you to ask questions if you have any. We'll give you a quick review of Kenect for about 5 minutes, and then we'll dive right in. So, title of today's presentation, as Sasha said, is reviewing the review sites, which ones matter the most, Google, Yelp, Facebook, Avvo, and more. So let's dive in. First of all, who is Kenect? We're based outside of Salt Lake City, Utah, in an area called the Silicon Slopes. We're a text messaging software built for law firms. So essentially what we do is we allow you to keep your main law firm phone number and simply send and receive text messages with a computer. So you can send and receive text messages with that main phone number. So text messages you send will go from your number directly to your client's cell phone like any other text message would. You can also receive text messages to that number. We just make your number textable. This allows you to communicate really efficiently, get rid of phone tag, where you're trying to reach a client to give them an update and they're in meetings or they're at work or they can't answer. They can always answer a text and they can always see a text. And then same thing on your end, right? They get frustrated with you when you're in hearings, when you're in meetings, but you can always respond to a text. So this is, I think, a really effective way to communicate. Second is generating new leads. We put a little text us button on your website that will generate you more leads than you have now. And then finally, conduct live video consultations for intake. This is done with texting as well. It's really slick. And then driving online reviews, which is what we'll hit today. We are integrated with the leading case management systems in the industry. So you can see the ones we're integrated with there. Practice Panther, Clio, Case Pacer, Filevine, Rocket Matter, Salesforce, and Litify. We're building integrations right now with Smart Advocate and Case Peer as well. We'll also announce a Clio Grow integration next week. These are powerful. Now, to be very clear, you don't need to be using one of these tools in order to use Kenect. You can use Kenect with or without an integration, but it does. A lot of our firms do have these integrations set up with these case management systems. As I said, we have about 4,000 customers and 40,000 users. So how do we do it? Two-way text messaging for your law firm, so you can stop giving out your personal cell number. In other words, you can get the benefits of texting without giving out your cell phone number, which is actually a huge deal. Web leads straight from your website, and video chat for virtual consultations, online review generation, and reputation management too. So why texting? This is, I think, a slide we should spend a second on. So texting is simply, for better or worse, the way we all communicate today. It is the most dramatic and substantial and positive change for communication since the invention of the telephone. It has changed the way people communicate and made it much easier to communicate. So your consumers, your clients would much rather text you than call you. They would much rather receive a text from you rather than receive a phone call from you. Most text messages are open, 98% are open. Compare that to email, which is like 10%. Compare that to any other communication method. You're never going to have a 98% open rate or a 95% response rate. And good luck trying to get people on the phone. Most people find them phone calls disruptive. They can't answer them. They're at work, they're in meetings. And texting is simply the way people prefer to communicate. How does it work? You simply log into the Kenect texting platform from any device. You don't need new phones or anything like that. You just log in from any device to Kenect, and you can send and receive text messages directly from the texting platform. You can also download the Kenect mobile app on your smartphone and send or receive text messages directly from there as well. From that, you can also do quick replies. You can request reviews. You can attach and send photos, videos, PDFs, attachments, DocuSigns. You can also do live camera. You can request payments. You can schedule messages and even do live video chat. So while you're texting somebody, you click on this live video chat button. It sends you both a link right in the text thread, so you don't need to leave the text thread and send like a weird Zoom link or something. And you both click on it and you start video chatting with them. We have found, our clients, I should say, have found, our customers have found that this is a great way to streamline intake. So instead of having to send a Zoom link or worry if they can log on to go to webinar, just while you're texting them, tap, and you can immediately start to do a live video chat with them. All right, let's talk 8 ways firms use Kenect and then reviews. So intake, scheduling consultations, texting case updates, reminders, collecting fees, video chatting, sending and receiving these photos, videos, PDFs, attachments. This is actually really great, by the way, if you're a personal injury attorney, because you can have your client immediately send you pictures from a scene. You can even do a live video chat while they're talking to the person that's also in the accident or police to make sure they say the right things. And then also generating online reviews and capturing more leads. All right, Google Reviews overview. Let's do a quick sort of overview before we dive into the reviewing the reviews platforms. So what are Google Reviews? Anybody using Google can review your business and leave a star rating. These reviews can be just star ratings, or they can leave long or short reviews in addition to the star ratings. And Google does nothing to verify or ensure that they are your actual client. Keep that in mind. Google does not verify to ensure that the person who's leaving the review is ever your client. So you will have instances when people who were not your clients or never were your clients leave you reviews. This could be opposing clients in a family law matter. That happens a lot. In some cases, we've even heard about opposing or competitive firms leaving reviews. But just keep in mind, people do not have to be a client to leave you a review. Google has no way of knowing, and there's no way to verify whether or not they are. Why do Google reviews matter? Well, number one is they matter to clients. 93% of clients say they use reviews as a first step in choosing a firm. 91% trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. Bottom line is, reviews matter a great deal to your clients, to people choosing a law firm. They matter a ton. And to show you how much they would have mattered, like if you would have done this, if we would have done this webinar, say 5 years ago, these numbers probably would have been in the high 50s. So it would have been like 56% and 61% or something. But that's how much it's changed, and that's how dramatically it has impacted law firms. To think that someone reading anonymous reviews on Google can have the same impact as like a neighbor or a family member giving advice about which law firm to use is pretty crazy. But that's where we're at, for better or worse. The second reason they matter is because they matter to Google. Google determines the order in which to rank law firms based on the number of ratings and reviews that you have. Let me just say that again. Google determines the order in which to rank law firms based on the number of ratings and reviews that they have. So if you're not getting really significant and good Google reviews, you are going to not be ranked highly, and you therefore won't get clicked, because the top listing receives around 50% of the total clicks, and 98% of the clicks are in the top 4. Okay. So what do people want to see in your reviews? What do potential clients want to see in your reviews? First, they want to see quantity. Let's focus on that one. A minimum of 50 reviews is necessary. About 150 plus is ideal. Now, I hear some small attorneys on the call getting angry with me because you're saying, well, gosh, I have like, I'm an attorney in a small town and I just don't have the clients to get the number of reviews that I need. So don't stress, don't fret. You will have the chance to get more reviews consistently. But it is true that you do not probably have enough reviews for Google to pay attention to you. So getting 50 reviews is necessary. Just push for that. And then after that, it's the more the merrier. Also, recency. 73% of clients disregard older reviews. Most don't even read old reviews. Now, what we sometimes see when we do a webinar like this is a law firm will say, you know what I'm going to do in the month of September? I'm going to do a review blitz. I'm going to go and get every possible review I can, get tons of reviews, and really focus on reviews for a month and get like 50 of them. That's fine. You can do that. But the problem with that is you didn't actually fix the problem. You didn't actually develop a process for consistently getting reviews. Instead, all you did was focus on blitzing it for 1 month. And then 6 months from now, you're going to be in the same situation where you don't have any new reviews. So instead of getting 60 reviews in September, get 10 in September and 10 in October and 10 in November and 10 in December. You do that and you do it consistently, you're going to succeed. You're just going to. The other thing I'll mention on this page is owner response. So most people read the reviews and then they immediately read the response. Doesn't need to be the owner, doesn't need to be a partner, but it should be somebody at your firm who goes and responds to every single review. All right, how do you gather more reviews? First is have an internal process. Make sure you have an internal process that is designed to get reviews and make sure everybody knows it. Oftentimes what we see with law firms is most people simply do not know the process for getting reviews at their firm. So what sort of things should be on this process document? So I would literally create a document and have 3 to 5 bullet points of like, what is our review gathering process? Maybe it's who you ask. Do you ask everybody or just everyone who you know loves you? Probably just the people that you know love you, right? Second is how do you ask? Do you text? Do you email? Do you ask in person? Do you send a postcard? What do you do? I'm going to make an argument for texting. We're biased, but I'm going to make that argument. Also, when do you ask? Do you ask after the case is resolved and it was a positive interaction? Maybe after the case is resolved, but before they've paid you? What about during the process when you've had a really particularly good meeting? Do you ask in that scenario? So when do you ask? I would just write these things down in a process document and make sure everyone at your firm has it and knows it. Second is have an owner. Make sure someone is in charge of getting reviews. If you don't have somebody who's in charge of getting reviews, you will fail. You've got to have somebody who's in charge of it. So if you're big enough to have a marketing person, it should be a marketing person who's in charge of it. If you're not, then have an office manager, receptionist type person do it. Or you can have attorneys get their own reviews or paralegals get their own reviews or whatever. You can have a partner who's really passionate about it do it. This is the single most important marketing activity you can engage in. More important than having a nice website, more important than running ads, more important than doing a direct mail piece or doing a billboard or a radio buy or having a great Facebook page. This is the most important marketing activity you can engage in because it determines where you rank on Google. So make sure someone's in charge of it and then compensate them for being in charge of it. If they do a good job, give them an extra $400 if they hit their goal. And then finally use texting, not email. Now, as I said, I admit we're biased on this. This is really important. If you send an email asking for reviews, you will generally get about a 1% to 2% response rate. It will not be good. That's just the way email marketing works. If you text, you will get a 35 to 45% response rate. That's a lot higher. So how does it work? You send a text message. It's got your company's logo. It's got a template here that we can help you create. You send it out. They click on the review site. and they leave the review. So that's simple. If you do that, you will get reviews between 35 and 45% of the time. So steps here. Take control. Don't let angry clients determine your online reputation. Get your clients, your great ones, to leave reviews. If you just sit back and wait, you're just going to get a few negative reviews and a few positive reviews a year, and you're not going to succeed. You will be rewarded if you are aggressive in this effort. Number 2 is build a repeatable process. So as we said, build a process, make sure someone's in charge of the process. Number 3 is use text messaging. And number 4 is respond and start marketing. So let's talk about why Google review matters, and then we'll go into the other platforms. So first, 96% of people seeking a law firm go to Google first. 96%. They don't go to Facebook, they don't go to Avvo, they don't go to Yelp, they go to Google. 85% of people use Google Maps to find legal services. Now that's really interesting for a ton of reasons. We won't dig into all of them today, but it is really important and really significant that Google is now allowing people to basically find law firms on Google Maps. Google reviews simply matter more to clients than other review platforms, and they are the biggest factor in ranking on Google. The top 4 listings, as we said, get 98% of the clicks. And Yelp matters if you are a restaurant, provide home services, beauty, fitness, whatever. So let's go through each one of these. Let's talk about Facebook, pros and cons. So first, Facebook reviews. We provide the ability, by the way, to get Facebook reviews from texting. So we're not arguing against something we don't offer, right? So we offer Facebook reviews. We can help you get Facebook reviews, but they just don't matter as much. So let's talk pros and cons. The pro is nearly everyone is signed into Facebook at all times. If you're in the US or Canada, most people, the vast majority of people, are dramatically addicted to Facebook or Instagram. They are signed into those at all times. The other pro is it's a social platform that's made for conversation. So this allows you really to engage with clients. If they leave a comment, if they leave a review, you can reply to that really easily. It makes sense. We all do it in our personal lives. We all know how to do it. So you can actually have a conversation and engage with clients. Those are the great things about Facebook reviews. But remember, most people go to Google and they want to find a law firm, literally 96%. And Google reviews are the biggest factor in ranking on Google. So Facebook simply cannot offer those things. Most people go to Google, and reviews are the number one way. Google reviews are the number one way you get ranked on Google. So those things, we believe, outweigh the importance of Facebook reviews. Let's talk Yelp. So people go to Yelp as a default for restaurants, hotels, and the service industry. That's awesome. People go to Yelp first, and it's also growing really rapidly. But again, you're not a restaurant, hotel, or a massage parlor service industry. You're a law firm, and people go to Google first when they want to find a law firm. You're going to see these same patterns repeated. Just sneak peek. Avvo is really interesting. So it is viewed as very reliable by people who are familiar with it. So people who use lawyers a lot, or people who've used them in the past, will go to Avvo and look at reviews there because it is viewed as very reliable. It is typically dedicated to people who are more thoughtful, have longer reviews, that kind of thing. So you will find people who who have attorneys on retainer going to Avvo for reviews, for example. But the average person who needs an attorney once every 20 years is not going there. They do not go to Avvo when they need a lawyer, they go to Google. Now here's the other thing that is important to note. Google determines whether Avvo is successful. Now here's what I mean by that. When someone searches for law firms in a certain area, one of the results that pops up is Avvo with reviews for that area. So Google, it's kind of this catch-22. Google is determining whether Avvo is successful because they determine where to rank them. So my point is, I would not hitch my wagon or put all the eggs in the basket of Avvo, whatever analogy you want to use, when Google controls its success. And recently some Google algorithm updates hit Avvo very hard, and they moved down the results dramatically. That's a big deal. And then we've talked about these others. Google reviews are the biggest factor in ranking on Google, and most people get the Google listing thing. All right, here's the point, and I want to make sure I'm clear on this. In an ideal world, if you had an unlimited number of clients who did exactly what you asked and left you reviews in exactly the way you asked, and an unlimited amount of time to talk to those clients, they would leave you reviews on each of those review sites. They'd leave reviews on Avvo, on Yelp, on Facebook, on Google. But here's the problem: you don't, right? You cannot effectively get reviews on all these platforms. It just doesn't work. Firms that try to do that end up not doing a good job on any of them. That's what we see over and over again, is some marketing person told a firm at some point, like, you need to get Yelp reviews. And so they get Yelp. And then another marketing guy said Facebook. And then someone else said, well, Yelp's exploding. The problem is you can't do all of them. So you have to focus on what is most important, and that is Google, and it's not close. Remember the stat, 96% of people go to Google first when they want to find a law firm. Okay, I want to go through this case study, and then I'll take whatever questions you have. It looks like we've got a couple coming in. So this is a firm called Carey Leisure and Neal in Tampa. They started using Kenect for their intake department, but then it solves so many problems for them. So now they're able to initiate video chat with a single text. They're able to do, they're getting an 82% increase in Google reviews. They're able to text businesses constantly. They're able to live respond to messages. It's a substantial benefit and impact on their business. And they're getting more leads because they added the text us widget to their website for live response. So they got it for intake, and now they have found, like, oh wait, we can send photos, videos, PDFs, attachments, DocuSigns. We can collect payments. We can do video chat. We can get more Google reviews, and we can text everybody, and we get more leads. So it's really a dramatic way to impact the law firm. Okay, well, thanks for jumping on today. I think this was a good discussion. I really, really appreciate the questions. I think, again, to reiterate what I said and what's on the screen, if you can effectively do all four, do it. Like, go nuts. Most firms can't, and they just get confused. And there is, I believe, zero question that Google matters more than the rest. And so if you're going to have to focus on one, focus on Google. And absolutely, you should only ask for reviews from the people who like you. It makes no sense to ask for reviews from someone who does not like you. To proactively go try to get them. Now, you can't bar people or ban people from giving you reviews, of course, but you certainly don't have to ask everybody. If you're interested in learning more about Kenect, you can text us or call us at that number on the screen right there. We work, as I said, with thousands of law firms. We'd love to work with you as well. It takes a quick 30-minute demo call, and then if you're interested, we can move forward. If not, that's fine too. But really appreciate the time today. And Sasha, back to you.
Thanks, McKay. That's all the time that we're going to have for today. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Kenect, and everyone for attending our webinar today. If you are curious about future webinars, you can look at the ABA LTRC page or follow our Twitter at LTRC for updates. I would also like to thank McKay for presenting today. You can keep up with Kenect at GoKenect on Twitter or Kenect.com. We will now conclude the webinar. Thank you, everyone.